Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we sift through some really impactful sources to bring you powerful insights.
And today we're diving into excerpts from The Hard Thing About Hard Things. That's the Ben Horowitz book, a business survival guide.
Right. And this isn't like your typical success playbook, is it? It feels different.
Oh, completely. He actually calls it a wartime manual, and for good reason.
Time manual.
Yeah, it pulls back the curtain on the really messy, brutal, sometimes lonely, and just profoundly uncertain side of running a company.
Okay.
It's really about how leaders navigate the hardest problems, the dilemmas that keep you staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m.
The ones where there's just no clear good answer in sight.
Exactly that.
And Horowitz, he's got the background, co-founder of LoudCloud.
Which became Opsware.
And then sold to HP for what, 1.6 billion?
A staggering amount.
Huge. And then he went on to co-found Andreessen Horowitz, the VC firm.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's seen this struggle from every possible angle.
He's lived it. Absolutely. Faced those impossible choices himself time and time again.
So what does this deep dive offer you, the listener?
Well, whether you're actually running a business or maybe leading a team or honestly even just facing a tough personal decision.
Right.
Horowitz's experiences offer this powerful framework. It helps you understand resilience, how to act decisively under pressure.
What real leadership looks like when the chips are down.
Exactly. We're trying to pull out that core wisdom for navigating, any high-stakes situation, really.
Okay, let's jump in then. He talks famously about the struggle, that thing every CEO, every leader apparently faces.
Yeah, he argues it's inevitable.
That gnawing fear of failure, right? Sleepless nights, the weight of these huge decisions.
Decisions that could literally make or break everything you've built.
Yeah. But what does he really mean when he says there are no easy answers to hard problems? Can you maybe unpack that a bit? What does that look like?
Well, it often means you're choosing between multiple bad options, not, a good path and a bad path.
All right.
For him, he talks about frequently facing the choice between, say, laying off a big chunk of his team.
Which is awful.
Terrible. Or letting the entire company just die. So the insight isn't about finding the right answer, because often there isn't one. It's about accepting that brutal reality.
Okay.
Stepping into that fear and making the least damaging call you can. With conviction, even when it feels like you're, standing in the fire.
Standing in the fire. That leads nicely to another big concept he has, this distinction between a peacetime CEO and a wartime CEO.
Right. Yeah, that's crucial.
So peacetime CEO sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Leading when things are thriving, focusing on expansion, culture, long-term strategy.
Growth, stability. Yeah, that's the ideal state.
But what's this dramatic shift required for a wartime CEO? And why is knowing that difference so critical?
The wartime CEO is a completely different animal. This is the leader who has to step up during a crisis.
Like a market collapse.
Yeah.
Or huge competition.
Exactly. Or maybe the company's imploding internally. They have to be aggressive, incredibly decisive, laser focused.
Totally laser focused, purely on survival. Think triage, tough choices, cutting costs deep.
Making decisions people won't like.
Often deeply unpopular decisions, yeah. All for the sake of keeping the organization alive. And the really critical skill Horowitz points out is that great CEOs, they know how to switch between these modes fluidly.
Like a mental gear shift.
Yeah, exactly like that. Adapting their whole approach based on the company's actual situation. Are we at peace or are we at war?
It sounds like even the best strategy, though, won't work if the people side isn't managed well, especially during that wartime phase.
Oh, absolutely critical.
So how does Horowitz suggest leaders handle that, the really challenging human stuff hiring, and maybe even tougher firing, when the stakes are just sky high?
Okay, so on hiring, he really emphasizes bringing in flexible people, individuals who can adapt, learn new stuff, and thrive even as the company changes shape.
Grows or pivots.
Exactly. He calls it scaling their own capabilities along with the organization. Not just hiring someone who's perfect for the job right now, because that job might look very different next year.
Precisely. It's that forward-looking view.
And then, the really uncomfortable part, letting people go.
Yeah.
His advice on firing and even mass layoffs is known for being pretty blunt.
It is. Brutal, but clear. If someone isn't working out, you have to remove them quickly.
Quickly. Why so fast?
He argues keeping the wrong person isn't just inefficient. It actively poisons morale for everyone else.
Ah.
Because your top performers, they resent carrying dead weight. And it sends a signal, right, that leadership maybe lacks courage. It erodes trust.
And layoffs, mass layoffs.
His advice there is do it quickly, do it fairly, and do it with genuine compassion. But, and this is key, without sugarcoating the truth.
Just be straight with people.
Exactly. He's adamant that employees, even in devastating situations, respect honesty far more than, patronizing comments or false hope.
That really makes you think about company culture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Horowitz is clear. It's not about superficial perks, not the ping pong tables, as he says.
Right. He dismisses this stuff pretty quickly.
So what is culture then, in his view, if it's not the fun stuff?
He says culture is genuinely about how decisions get made and, crucially, how people actually behave when the pressure is on.
When things are tough.
Yeah. Your ping pong table isn't going to save you when you're running out of cash. True culture shows up when those hard calls are on the table, when there are ethical dilemmas, or when the company is just fighting to survive.
That's when you see the real values, lived out or not.
Exactly. Lived or contradicted.
Okay. This brings us to something really challenging. Making decisions when everything's ambiguous. Horowitz says in the toughest moments, you're often choosing between two bad options.
Yeah, not good and bad. Bad and worse, maybe.
So what does it mean to focus on the least damaging path then? How do you even figure that out?
It's about accepting that, look, a perfect solution just doesn't exist here. He shares these really powerful, almost gut-wrenching examples.
Like the layoffs you mentioned.
Yeah, having to lay off huge parts of his team multiple times just to keep the lights on. It wasn't about growth then, or profit. Pure survival.
Wow. So the least damaging path acknowledges that, yes, every choice is going to hurt someone, somewhere, but you're trying to minimize the long-term damage to the company's ability to just survive and maybe eventually get back on its feet.
That takes incredible courage, I imagine.
Immense courage.
Yeah.
To choose that path of lesser harm and then live with the consequences.
And with those kinds of choices weighing on you, Horowitz still insists on transparency. Tell it like it is. Don't hide bad news.
Yeah, he's big on that.
He argues it builds trust, that your team can handle the truth better than being misled.
Absolutely. Better than being kept in the dark, wondering what's really going on.
But what about the personal toll? I mean, how does a leader manage that weight?
And that brings us right to the core of leadership and, well, mental toughness. Horowitz is very open about it. Leaders feel fear, too.
Absolutely. Courage isn't the absence of fear.
Exactly. It's acting decisively despite the fear. And then there's the crushing loneliness of the CEO role he talks about.
Oh, yeah. You can't really complain downward, can you? CEOs carry problems that literally no one else in the company fully sees or understands or can help solve.
That sounds incredibly isolating.
It is. It requires huge inner strength.
Now, as companies grow, you often think problems get smaller, right? Or easier. Horowitz says no.
Definitely not. He debunks that idea quickly.
Problems don't vanish, they just change shape.
Exactly. What worked when you had 50 people absolutely breaks down when you have 500. Your processes, your systems, they just have to evolve.
Can you give an example of how they transform?
Sure. Like communication. At 50 people, it might be informal, direct, everyone knows everyone. At 500, impossible. You need formal structures, clear reporting lines, robust systems for everything, HR, product development, you name it.
It's a whole different ballgame.
Completely. And he makes this powerful point. Finding product market fit, making sure people actually want your product, that's just the start.
It's just the beginning.
Yeah. The real battlefield, according to Horowitz, is execution. Can you deliver consistently, reliably, at scale? You can have the best idea ever, but if you can't execute,
Doesn't mean much.
it means very little in the long run.
And then there are those moments when things just seem to fall apart, when all the strategy goes out the window.
The near-death experiences.
Right. And sometimes survival is literally the only goal. You have to forget about being the best or conquering the world. Just stay alive.
Yeah, put those big aspirations on hold for a bit. And this is where avoiding what he calls denial mode is just absolutely critical.
Denial mode, meaning pretending things aren't that bad.
Exactly. If you need to pivot hard, if you need to cut staff deep, if you need emergency funding, you have to do it with brutal speed, no hesitation.
He talks about being close to bankruptcy himself.
Oh, yeah, vivid, nail-biting stories. His company literally weeks away from running out of cash. But they survived. Why? Because he acted decisively in those desperate moments.
So waiting is dangerous.
Extremely. The longer you wait, the fewer options you have, the consequences get worse. It's about taking that action, however painful it is, before you actually hit rock bottom.
You know, for a book that's so focused on these hard choices, tough business realities, Horowitz also brings up something often overlooked: self-care.
Yeah, it's an important point he makes.
He talks about how stress can just devastate leaders. It's easy to forget the human behind the title, isn't it?
It really is. And he emphasizes the importance of mental resilience. How do you keep going?
Does he offer specifics?
Well, it's refreshing, actually. He shares some of his own coping strategies, like listening to rap music for motivation during the really dark times.
Oh, really? Rap music?
Yeah. It's this powerful reminder that even these, titans of industry, they need their own ways to battle that relentless pressure, to recharge their minds.
It's not about being invincible.
Not at all. It's about having the inner resources, whatever they are for you, to just keep going.
So after digging into all these brutal realities, these insights, what's Horowitz's core advice for entrepreneurs? What's the ultimate takeaway?
I think he boils it down to this. There's no formula for being a great CEO. It's not something you just learn in a class or from a book.
It's learned by doing.
By going through the chaos, experiencing the failures, the pain firsthand. He sets the expectation really clearly. Expect failure, expect chaos, expect pain. It's part of the journey.
That sounds daunting.
It is. But ultimately, he concludes that success often just comes down to sheer gritty perseverance.
Sticking with it.
The willingness to endure, to learn from the hits, and just keep fighting another day.
Okay, so let's try and summarize the biggest takeaways from this deep dive into Horowitz's The Hard Thing About Hard Things. First, leadership.
Leadership is fundamentally about making the least wrong choice when things are uncertain, because often there just are no easy answers to those hard problems.
Got it. Second,
Your leadership style has to be adaptable. That wartime mindset versus peacetime, it really matters.
Yeah.
You need to be able to make that mental gear change based on what the company needs now.
right. Third takeaway,
Culture, it isn't the perks. It equals how people behave and how decisions are made, especially when things get tough. It's your values lived under pressure.
okay. Fourth,
Be transparent. Always. Your team can handle bad news better than lies or being kept in the dark. Trust is everything, and honesty builds it even when the news is hard to deliver.
and finally, the fifth big one.
Survival trumps everything else in a crisis. First, just stay alive as a company. Greatness. Well, that can come later if you make it through. The primary mission is ensuring the organization continues to exist.
So this whole deep dive into Ben Horowitz's work, it really seems to boil down to the idea that leadership, especially in tough times, it's way more about character, isn't it?
Yeah, character, courage when facing impossible choices, and just sheer resilience, much more than grand strategies or easy wins.
It's about the human element, the messy reality.
And the will to just keep going, to persevere.
So here's a final thought for you to ponder, building on all this. Given that leadership in crisis often means choosing that least damaging path, how might recognizing that principle influence how you approach difficult decisions, personal or professional, in your own life?
Something to think about as you navigate your own hard things.